It's Monday, 19th of August 2024. Today's show, we go over Saturday's dire home defeat against Stockport as the Pool capitulated in the second half to go equal at the bottom of League One. After two defeats in a row, both against newly promoted teams from League Two. We'll also be discussing Flaggate, rumours of the removal and maybe replacement, maybe not. I'm John Aspinall, and this is Seaside's podcast, match reaction show. Blackpool 0, Stockport County 3. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the match reaction show, the first match reaction show of the season on the Seasiders podcast. And it ain't a very happy studio, I can tell you that. Got Tim, Matt, and Raggy this evening. Tim, you quite correctly predicted a defeat at the Saturday on the preview show. Predicted, I think it was 2-0, wasn't it? I think you're the only one who predicted defeat. And I remember thinking in my head when you said that, he's usually right with these things because we were all cock-a-hoop.
I don't take any pleasure in it, I hasten to add. But
it's the realist. Gricey, the Grice Reaper, unfortunately, not with us this evening. Predicted a 5-1 win, Raggy. I think you've been playing him with Raggy Aid before that particular.
It's a delusion, isn't it?
He's a deluded man.
Yeah.
I've never said it's a positive ever.
He gets grief for being downbeat and grief on his positive.
Can't win, can he? Can't win. Poor Gricey. He's shaking in a corner now, rocking back and forth. Matt, how's your head after that weekend? I'm not talking about consumption of German beer.
Well, yeah, I was supposed to be on my best behaviour on Saturday, really, but it all sort of went downhill from 12:30 pre-match and 12:30 post-match, definitely. So, yeah, I needed it though afterwards. Good God, I've got to try and forget. Yeah, not a great Saturday night come Sunday. Saturday night was good, but not how you wanted to have it really. But yeah, it's been a long 48 hours since, it has to be said.
So, first home game of the season. Normally expectations are high, aren't they, for these games? What was the general mood before the game? Raggy, I know I read that the Armfield Club was really busy, like rammed out.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was as busy as it was for most of the time last year, and I think everyone was upbeat. Everyone, I think it was more down to it just being the first home game than any particular reason why, because they definitely weren't going to change the formation, was he? But yeah, I thought we'll probably go there and win, but I was it was the lack of amount of fans in the ground as well that surprised me for the first home game of the season. So, and
the north was reasonable. I think the north was reasonably full, wasn't it? But the south was sparse, and I noticed there's a lot of gaps in the west as well.
Yeah, and obviously from the north, you only see the gaps, don't you, around the rest of the ground? Mm-hmm. And then giving half the ground to the away fans is not ideal either, is it? But
should have been 15,000 crowd that on Saturday, really, shouldn't it? I know it was 12. I mean, I actually thought there was more Blackpool fans in the ground than I thought there was going to be. If I'm being honest, I thought it would be a bit lower than that. So I was actually a little bit pleasantly surprised. But it was equally, it's a first home game of the season. The sun's out. The decent opposition. Not quite a derby, but a relatively close team who haven't played for many years. 2 years ago we'd have had 15,000 if we were going to give 4,000 to away fans, wouldn't we? So it's way down on what it should be.
Yeah, and obviously it's a massive commitment for people to just turn up these days as well, isn't it? Like you say, sun's out. They might have better things to do, but equally they might be thinking, yeah, I'll go down to the match, first game of the season, and then obviously they see it's 30 odd quid, and you just think, F that, I'll do something else instead. So that's where we are, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. We were in the north. Obviously, we're all in the north, but we're in different sort of sections. And I know it's the first time I remember seeing gaps almost in the middle of the west. As long as I can remember being in the north stand, I can see rows of 5 and 6 empty seats at a time. So it's not a great start in terms of trying to get bums back on seats, is it?
Yeah, there's a 2-for-1 deal on in the Sea Life Centre, according to Matt.
Better product.
Better product, though. You beat me to
Better products.
So, what did we think of the product before the game when the starting 11 came out? A couple of changes: Grimshaw, Husband, Pennington, Evans, Joseph, Carey, Fletcher, Baggott. Is that pronounced correctly? Someone was correcting me with this Baggott pronunciation. Coulson, Apton, Finnegan. Tim, coming to you first. Rob Apter starts.
Yeah,
I think CJ, I fell off my chair when I saw that.
I think we were saying beforehand that it was for me, it was going to be a bit of a litmus test as regards where Critchley was at. I think if we stuck with CJ and not played Apter, then and it didn't go well, then it was going to be very, very difficult for him. So that was, I was actually quite surprised because I thought if Apter was going to start, he might have hooked him before the end of Tuesday night. But so that was a pleasant surprise. Obviously, the complete omission of Norburn and the rumours that he may well be off was notable. That he didn't even make the bench. I think otherwise, I was reasonably, if I'm being honest, reasonably happy. I could see why Embleton doesn't start. Maybe a little bit surprised that Rhodes didn't or Ballard didn't, because I think as we saw as we went on, I think we know Fletcher's doesn't score lots of goals, and neither does Joseph. So I suppose the concern is where are the goals going to come from? But I was interested in how we would perform. I think it's fair to say.
Raggy, mood in the Armfield when that dropped?
Yeah, I think same as. I think once he's in, Apter was in, I think fair enough. Again, though, with the goals, I think what Tim said there was one of my, where's the goals going to come from? As it worked out in the end, it'd have been a waste of time having Rhodes on the pitch anyway for what they created for him or any of them strikers. So that's definite problem for us. Unless this Ballard kid is amazing, we've got big problems, I think, striker-wise.
Matt, lack of pace is something that's been mentioned on in the previous pod, I think, again, particularly up front and across the back line. No pace up front or at the back.
No, it's a worry. It's been said last season and unfortunately this season as well so far that the lack of pace, both at the back, through the middle, up the front, it's there for everyone to see. And yeah, just touching on the goals thing, it was the first thing that just as we were lining up to take the kickoff, as well as sort of when you sort of see it and you just think there's just no goals in this 11 at all, because your goals are on the bench with Jordan Rhodes and there's just not there. And that it's a massive concern, isn't it? That we've got 4-5 strikers, whatever it is. And, if Rhodes isn't scoring, then you do wonder how the hell we're going to get anybody else to score a goal. And obviously we're just not, well, we'll go on to the match itself about creativity and all the rest of it, I'm sure. But as far as the 11 was concerned, I was glad that Baggott came in because he looked head and shoulders the best centre-half at Burton in the cup game. And yeah, I think it was good to see Apter as well for obvious reasons.
Okay, let's move on to the actual game itself then. First half, just shift that over. Tim, we actually started with a bit of intensity and a bit of purpose. And I know a lot of people don't like the fact that Stockport got the whole ground, the whole stand. But for me, I think it was a great atmosphere at the beginning of the game. Both Blackpool fans and the Stockport fans were combining together, and it made a right noise. And I felt like we were almost in the Championship again, or even the Premier League. The atmosphere was that good.
Well, I think Raggy's Raggy was out and has always been an advocate of having the away fans near the north from the point of view of creating that atmosphere. Whether you give them the whole stands is obviously the moot point. It was interesting. I watched one of those the endangered species these days, aren't they, vloggers? Because they all seem to get shut down. And I watched one who was at Blackpool, and he was buzzing for the atmosphere in the home end. And it was. And I think I said on the last pod, you have Ballard commenting that one of the reasons he came here is because of the fantastic atmosphere when he was here with Reading last year, and it did fit. It was quite a decent start. I thought we started on the front foot. I thought Coulson looked energetic on the left hand side. We've Matt's already spoken about Baygot, and maybe it's like that Hyacinth bouquet. We'll have another.
Bago.
It is. It's Baygot. It's Baygot. I got corrected. I mean, my brother told me he was at the school with someone with a similar name, and it's Baygot. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So, yeah, a man of your lyricism, Tim, should know these things. And
well, it's one of those ones you could say about 3 different ways, probably, can't you? So, but I thought he looked. He looked class. To be fair, he seemed very, very comfortable on the ball. Didn't panic. And you're sort of doing a quick obvious comparison with Marv because they're playing in the same position, and where Marv would get a bit nervous, wouldn't he, if he had somebody bearing down on him, and be prone to a mistake. He did seem to have that calm assuredness that you sometimes see with other teams centre backs when they're quite a decent side, and so I was quite impressed with him. Less impressed with Hubby early on. I think he seemed to struggle a bit yesterday. Yesterday on Saturday, but generally I thought we looked okay. I think we seemed to lose it a bit in that last third, but I think in the middle third and in the defensive third we look pretty decent.
Maggie, over to you. It's weird that the penalty, the penalty decision. I think we're all in down the north end, aren't we? So none of us in a great place. And I've not even seen the replay. So just to the room, then, has anyone actually seen the replay of it? So I've checked the highlights, Stockport highlights. Funnily enough, it's not on there.
No, I've not seen it. No.
It looked Stonewall though, didn't it? It looked Stonewall.
Yeah. Anyone in the comments? Has anyone seen the replay? Just let us know. Give us an unpartial.
This is when you need Mr. Jones in the room, isn't it? As the South Stand boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's there. He's just slagging Hubby off. Hubby on a shocker. Even I will concede that, and he's his biggest fan as well. Yeah. So Maggie, obviously, was the penalty incident, but apart from that, we didn't really create anything, did we? We had a bit of pressure first 20 minutes, and then normal service was resumed after that.
Yeah, that went on all game. I thought we started with a bit more intent, as you said, than usual, and we didn't seem to be fanning about with it at the back quite as much. But again, without creating anything. I was watching Joseph in particular for a while, runs his heart out, the lad, I think, but nothing created, balls over the top, trying to win things. I mean, there was a couple of times he didn't even challenge, to be honest with you, in the air. I noticed that. And Fletcher is the first time I'd seen him live. Looks a big lump, but I'm not sure what he's good at and what he's bad at.
Poor man's Gary Medine.
Poor man's Gary Medine, yeah. I don't know. Carl Richards. It's like having Carl Richards back, isn't it, from years ago playing.
He's like a forward version of Avett.
Yeah.
From the same stable.
I don't know. He's one of them players, a bit like Andy Priest and Andy Watson used to be. They look like they're about to burst into serious pace, but they just never do because it's just not there.
Watson had a bit of pace, didn't he?
No, I don't know. He was great. Don't get me wrong. I loved Andy Watson, but he just looked like he was about to. He looked shit hot in the warm up. That's how I'd describe it. Shit out in the warm up. It definitely scare you as a fan looking at him in the warm up, and never quite broke into the pace. But yeah, that's the main thing for me. And also, I know it's about Saturday, but the players. I mean, you take Ekpateta, Dembele, and Byers from last year, and they just walk into that team. So we're massively weaker than we finished last year. And I'm not sure anyone on the bench is any better than what we've got on the pitch, other than maybe Rhodes. So I think we're struggling.
Poundland strike force, says Tony Lawson.
I do have an ounce of sympathy with our strikers. I mean, to a certain degree, League One strikers, I think they're as good as any other in whatever team they play for at our level. I think there's one or two standouts, obviously, but they've got to get the service, haven't they? And our strikers just don't get a bloody thing at all. There's nothing from the central of the pitch. What we do is generally from outside, right or left. But there's nothing at all. How many times can you think of that? I don't know, Joseph or Rose or whoever has had the opportunity to go on to like a typical sort of midfield slide pass through the centre halves.
Never happens. Never happens.
Never happens. Never happens. So we are a pound force strike force, but unfortunately we're pretty much a pound force everything at the moment.
But is that the tactics in the formation? Because the players are they better than that? I think they are better than that.
I'm sure they are better than that.
The instructions clearly to get it out wide, isn't it? The instructions to get it out wide, but that makes us one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Because if we close, if the opposition know we're going to do that because we never do anything different, all they need to do is go tight on our right and left wing backs, wide players, and don't let us cross or limit.
We're not even wing back. I mean, Apter's not a right wing back, is he?
No, is he yet?
No. And that's where Dembele was the difference last year, because he was the unknown factor in a way, wasn't he? He was the one that was different he was out of the mold, wasn't he? Really, of what we have, and we don't have that now. So we're absolutely goosed as far as any other creativity is concerned. It seems. It's it's a tough watch at the moment, isn't it? As we know.
But why he won't change it, I don't know. Why won't he change it? I mean, it's not unusual, this conversation that us four are having. You hear it off every single person you come across. It is boring.
It's boring saying it's talking about this over and over and over again.
Sap the life out of the whole club. Sap the life out of a match day. I don't know why or for what reason it's happened that way, but the whole thing just seems to be, and it's crap, innit? Because I don't want to be talking like that. Don't want to think of any bad times ahead in Blackpool Football Club or anything like that. But it's hard work going without any enthusiasm. I'm pretty much knowing what you're going to see.
I think what you're seeing at the moment as well is you're seeing the ones who are what you might call a glass half full type in relation to Critchley. I think you're seeing them now looking at the bottom of the glass because there's not many people defending this system anymore and the way that he's playing anymore, and it's so one dimensional, and you only. And you were on Raggy, but we have listened back, but we listened to we listened a lot to what the Stockport guest had to say because he never stopped. But bless him. But what he did say, which I found incredibly interesting, was that Chandler would be extremely unhappy if you just played keep ball and played the safe ball. He wanted you to take chances. He wanted you to take risks. He didn't mind you doing that and losing the ball as long as you had an attacking intent behind it. And if you play the safe pass, you're more likely to get hooked for that than you are for losing possession because you're trying to do something.
Yeah.
And we've gone from having a manager, whether it was down to who sat alongside him or who was prepared to shift around systems. We used to call him the Tinker Man, didn't we? Because he was always messing around with the system.
Yeah.
And the personnel with the system. Now all we get is 3 subs on and just shoehorned into exactly the same positions in exactly the same formation of the people that they've replaced.
It's like the two subs were like for like, 2 centre forwards in exactly the same system that wasn't working. And it happens over and over and over and over again. It just doesn't make sense on any level.
That's the thing. And if it was working in any way, shape, or form, I could understand it. But it's not worked. And people thinking we just missed out on the playoffs last year, it's nonsense. It didn't work last year. We missed a big opportunity there in a weaker League One than we've got now. When we was a relegated side with a better squad and a better team than we've got now. It's not worked for a long time. So, and it's not going to work, is it? It's certainly. Sorry,
Raggy. I was going to say we're building a squad that's obviously for this system because we haven't got any alternatives to change, to make those changes anyway. We haven't got in this squad on Saturday. We didn't have a right back. We haven't got a right back in the squad at the moment who's fit, so we can't change anything. We've got if Gabriel goes, there's rumours about that. We're left with Andy Lyons, who's plainly not fit, and Jack Moore, I think, is a right back in this squad, and he ain't going to get in either. I'm going to play as many games as him this season, probably. So we're stuck with what we've got. But because we don't have those options on the bench or even in the squad, it seems at the moment, it ain't going to change. And that's the only way you can do things is making changes because we're just not doing anything. It's just the same old same. Rinse and repeat every week. And we know what changes are going to be made. The opposition manager and staff certainly know what's going to come to them. So, yeah, it's a massive, massive concern, isn't it?
And it is, and the players are not enjoying it either. You can see that anyway. I mean, I very rarely listen to Critchley, but someone said, did he say in his interview afterwards that the players stopped believing towards the end of the game or something like that, or when we were 1-0 down?
Neil?
Why is that? Because they don't believe it anyway. They don't like it. They can't. They know they're not playing. They know they're not doing this as well as they can do. That's got to change, and that it's got to be the first thing that changes to start getting people enthused about going again. It's
they can't like playing. They can't like playing this system, can they? They don't. No they don't like they're enjoying it.
No. Look what we had 18 months, 2 years ago, to where we are now. It's just a ground bouncing, everyone happy coming to the game, happy with what's going on, and then it's just turned on us, hasn't it? And why he's come back now, and like you say, will not change at all, I don't know. But it's only going one way.
It'd be like nice. Someone's just said as a joke there, why don't you get Critchley on the pod? It'd be good to get him on here and just ask him. Like, why not just try something different? You've got nothing to lose. 2-0 down. Why not change it? Try something.
He was asked at that bit of a meeting at the club, wasn't he? Where fans for him. I mean, he was asked, and he did give quite a long answer, and I think he was alluding to that his system would be better if he was able to have better players. But if you haven't got better, we haven't, and you're not likely to get them, so you can't just keep going on with the same thing, can you? I'm sure if he had Man City's team, he'd do well, but he hasn't, and it's not working with what we've got. So that's got to be the first thing to change to get people a bit excited about going again. Like you say, if that game on Saturday had been 3-2, we'd lost 3-2, but we'd been having a right go. Everyone would be okay with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah. The fact is, we go 1-0 down. You pretty much say that's it. We're not winning. 2-0, forget it.
Yeah.
We seem to have to go 1-0 up to have any chance at all. And then if we're not having any shots on target, I think we did. Did we not have any shots on target on Saturday?
No,
that was
no.
The last, none. And then how many at Crawley?
One,
which was a deflected bloody goal, was it? And so how are we going to win games like that? It's crazy.
And when we're 1-0 up, we shut up shop and defend deep and try and defend the 1-0.
Yeah,
which pretty more often than not, it comes back to bite us.
Yeah. It's not good, but none of it's good, is it? Like I say, it's not winning you the league. We're top of the league with that system, or we're in the playoffs and we're winning, and you just right. We can see why it's doing it, but it's not. That's not working either.
What a manager should always do is get that extra bit out of the players that perhaps even they don't know they've got in them, and effect changes in the game and nick a result where you're otherwise not playing well. But you've got to say, for the last since he's come back, he has almost been a straitjacket for the team, and I felt all, I was quite positive at the beginning of last season because I felt we had the squad to get up, and I think he killed it. He put them, wouldn't take the brakes off. We used to say, didn't we, last season? And it's going to be like, unless he isn't going to change. I don't think he's got it in him to change, and I don't know why. Whether he's been scarred by his other experiences or whether he just thinks he knows best, but there isn't even a glimmer. It looks worse this season than it did last season for me because we haven't got as good personnel, and we haven't got the belly factor that can just change something.
I think the only time he changed anything last year was in the odd cup game, wasn't it? When he threw a few players up front when we were chasing the game or something like that, and that's it. With a cup game with no risk involved, really. It's shit or bust, isn't it? A cup game. And it is just the same old. And like I said, we haven't got the squad now. He's built this squad so that he can just play this formation. There's no change in it now. All he can get in is maybe another player in the middle of the park to replace Norburn or something, or a better centre half if we're lucky, and a better centre forward if we're lucky. But really, I can't see how we're going to get any players.
He hasn't even bought the players that suit it.
No.
It's like we've got players who clearly want to play a flat back four.
Yeah.
And then when we've replaced them, we've brought in other players who clearly want to play in a flat back four.
And that's the thing of going back to Husband not having a great game on Saturday. He got done probably 2 or 3 times in the first half with just a ball, a 40-yard lob over the top of him. Right. And it's plainly because he doesn't play in that position. And he can't read it like he can when he's playing at fullback. Yeah. He wasn't the best left back in the world, but everyone knew he was a solid 7 out of 10 pretty much every week. Now he just looks like an absolute lost person in that back three. Totally. He's gone, and that's only because of what's happened in the last 12 months.
Well, ditto Pennington as well. The only one that looked comfortable was Baggett.
Yeah, because he's playing in his central role, isn't he? That's it. Yeah.
Without Baggett, it'd have been I think we'd definitely been more than one down at half time. He made a couple of really fantastic blocks. Louis Barry's hit the post as well, hasn't he? So if you look back at the highlights, I forgot how many sort of shots on goal and attempts they actually had. There were shots fizzing in 3-4 times in that first half. And that first 20 minutes clouded it a bit, really, because we didn't really create anything apart from penalty shout, and we've gone in at 0-0 at half time. Second half started, and we've got the ball in the back of net, but it was ruled out. So it was actually a tidy finish from Ash Fletcher. Little chip ball into the far corner, flagged for offside. I missed it because I was downing a drink and legging it back. So what happened?
It was a bit weird because there seemed to be like a foul on one of our players, as I recalled, and the ref didn't immediately blow. Then it goes through to Fletcher. I think he was in a slightly offside position, but it was a good finish. But then he didn't bring it back and give the foul. He gave a goal kick, which I found a bit bizarre. But it was, I haven't seen it back again, but I was obviously right behind that goal, and he looked offside when he received it. But it was a decent finish, to be fair. Crossed the goal. Yeah.
Just before they scored, Ryan Finnegan had a kind of a speculative effort, didn't he? Just goes wide, if anyone can remember that. He was a bit anonymous, wasn't he? He was quite anonymous, Finnegan, in that game, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he struggled a wee bit, really, which is a shame because he looked fairly useful when he came on against Burton. But, you're asking guys, again, just to come in and try and flick a switch and change our fortunes. And these, Finnegan's got, a handful of league games under his belt or whatever it is, not an awful lot. It's just not working, is it?
They had it in about probably, because I would have said the first half, other than they had the chances, was reasonably even. But I felt as the second half started, they just seemed to start to take control of the midfield in particular. And even before we get to their opener, which I think was about 67 minutes, we around us were all saying, look, he's got to change this because it's It's not working, and we could see they were just getting more and more possession as the second half went on.
Common pattern, Tim. We can all see something needs to change, but he can't.
Maybe he needs to get more elevated or something rather than be on the touchline. Maybe he can't see the game the way that we can. I don't know, but there's something clearly wrong because it's and it wasn't, we all know a bit about football. I'm sure we don't know anything like as much as anybody in the coaching staff, but the warning signs were there before their first goal. It was, that's where the manager earns the corn. Changing things in a way. If you go back to Holland against England, where we were battering them in that first half, the Holland manager changes the system at half time to stop it. And he did. And that's what you want your manager to do at whatever level it's at. I'm not talking about international level, but any level. You want them to see where the problems are and nip them in the bud.
Stockport tweets their system in the second half. If you remember, Daniel, the Stockport fan, he was saying he can tweak 2 or 3 times in a game, change the system around based on what he sees in front of him. And he did change the system. I was listening to one of their comms after the game. The system was tweaked and they dominated. Critchley never does, never changes the system. And it wasn't a surprise to me whatsoever when Louis Barry danced all the way from in front of the touchline.
Right, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just like straight line across the pitch. Was it a moment of genius? I'm a bit torn. It was it was a great goal. It was a great goal, but the defending questions.
Joke defending, running into each other and everything.
Yeah,
no one willing to take him out for a start. Someone should have just took him out when he set off.
We weren't close enough. We weren't close enough to shout at him. Never mind, close enough to foul him.
I don't know who the two were that ran into each other, but took each other out. Two of ours, didn't they? Can't remember which two it was.
You got a bit of Benny Hill music overdubbed to that.
Yeah.
Who's to blame for that? Is that a system or just players?
That's players.
That's players. That's ridiculous. You can't let someone run that far past 4 or 5 and do that. No chance.
Especially when you knew from the minute he touched the ball, you knew what he was going to try and do because he was always on his right foot and he was only going to go one way. Yet they still couldn't read it, could they? To block him off and, like you say, you better conceding a 20.
Maybe that's the point when they'd lost belief just before that.
Yeah.
An interesting point there. Obviously, they've got him in from Villa, where Critchley's at, albeit short tenure, he has some links. But where's? Are we going to see a decent? We've still time yet, I suppose. But are we going to see a decent loan signing? Somebody who's going to effect change because he looked quality, didn't he? And he was, we didn't have anything to match the stuff that he and the players around him were able to do.
We're battling out with Shamrock Rovers, aren't we? And players we're trying to get.
Yeah.
Well, they've got Fiorini as well. Don't forget that. They've signed Fiorini.
And Callum Connolly.
Yeah. Just as well, they had about 10 men out on Saturday, didn't they? Surprised all night.
Yeah. So just to
thank God
he has got Dave Coleman, he has gone to Shamrock, that player that we were after. Yeah, he's gone
for European football. So their season finishes in January, doesn't it? Because that's when we got Andy Lyons on it.
Yeah, they play summer league.
We might get him in January then. Who knows?
Feeks.
Oh, great! He can help us with our relegation battle.
Exactly. Yeah.
If Louis Barry played for us, Critchley would coach him to lay it off after cutting inside.
Damn right.
They would go back, pass it back to Grimshaw. As you 5 men.
Yeah, move them across. That's one of his favourite ones, isn't it? We were moving them well, from left to right. Yeah, so let's try and get some sort of balance. The second goal Grimmy at fault. I'm not going to dig him out because he's a great goalkeeper. I think Grimmy was just getting frustrated himself, and he was just keen to get the ball out and into play and try and kickstart an attack. Obviously, it's not gone well. But again, the defense should have tidied up that error. It wasn't like as if he's like chucked it straight at play on his 1-on-1, is it?
No, it was a 3-on-2 though, wasn't it? So, and that's where the goal comes from the spare man on the right hand side. And to be fair, it was still a good finish. And he's still got to put the ball in the back of the net, hasn't he? But listen, Grimm is trying to effect change, isn't he? He's trying to, release the ball quickly. It's probably spun out of his hands a bit, and he's not got the force on it that he was hoping to get on it. And it's been read by their player, and it's game over at that point, isn't it?
Still opportunity to cover if we had any pace. Mark, you read my mind. That's what I was kind of trying to say. That if we had any pace, we could have recovered. That's the sort of situation where Big Marvin was quite. Yeah.
I mean, it was a horrendous error, and it just sort of, sums everything up, doesn't it? At the moment, really, that sort of goal when you're getting one of your better players to do that, and present the opposition with a goal. It's just not what you need, is it?
There's a few rumours he's off, aren't there? I was hearing on Saturday.
Yeah. Plymouth, was it? That are in
Plymouth, yeah, was the mention, wasn't it? Leanne's going to be suicidal, isn't she? If Grimmy goes. She's in the chat tonight. But yeah, I mean, listen, if you can get a championship gig, you can
absolutely
sort of understand it, can't you? But it's a bit frustrating, nevertheless, because if Gabriel's going, he's going. We've already lost Ekpateta. We're losing quite a lot of our better players, aren't we? And the question is, are we replacing them? It doesn't matter if you're replacing them because you're evolving, but I'm not sure that we are.
Oh, Marvin made a bad gaff there Saturday playing for Hibs that cost them. Oh well, nothing changes there, maybe. John Gradwell's just said, "I've never seen Bloomfield Road empty so quick." After that, a sad indictment of our lack of ability to come back from any sort of deficit in a game.
The writing's on the wall, though, isn't it? You just know there's barely any coming back from 1-0, but once it gets to 2-0, that's absolutely game over. And I don't even know what minute it was. Does anybody know what minute the second goal was? Because
it was only 2 or 3 minutes after the first, wasn't it?
83, Matt.
Oh gosh, it was a bit longer than I thought then.
Right. So at that point, I mean, I'll admit it's the first time for a long, long time, but that was it. I went as soon as the ball hit the back of the net, basically. I was on a march to the saddle at that point.
I'd gone before that. But that was what I was saying outside the club. The amount of people coming past on the road. I said, there's no left in the ground here by the end of this game.
Yeah,
everyone.
Good for business, though, Raggy. So Critchley in from that perspective.
Well, it's not because you want people to win, and then they all get on the spirits, don't they? They all get on the old Red Bulls and have a right good night. But that's
they're drowning the sorrows.
No, if anything should send a picture out to Mr. Sadler, it's that he should have been sat there in them last 5 minutes, looking around that ground and wondering what the hell's happened, because it's terrible that.
I mean,
it was a hard thing to be there. We left. Yeah. I was leaving just as the third went in, and it was hard standing there with 4,000 of them going cheerio, cheerio as well. It wasn't good. It was.
It's rubbish.
Been mugged off in your own home ground.
I don't blame anybody for going. Equally, I don't blame anybody for going because it was
no.
Utter, to have a home game and not have one shot. Coming from an away game where you didn't have a shot, other than the deflection, is just an indictment of what we're left with, isn't it? Which is a product, Mr. Winter, that isn't fit for purpose.
That's it. I'm the first.
What's he going to do, Mr. Listen, forget.
Sorry, I was
about Swansea. Waster.
Yes.
Go on, Matt, you go. Then Luke, save that rant, Raggy.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Save it in
that rant.
in the memory.
In the archives.
Matt, you take your piece. Just save the rant. Save the rant. Okay. Go on, Matt.
All I was going to say was that I'm usually the first one to have a go at people leaving early, normally because we've got something still to play for. But like I said, that's why I left early. That's why it's 2-0. And that's why another 4,500 left at the same time. Because it's just a terrible watch, a bad, you're just not going to get anything out of it. We just knew that we're never going to get 2 goals in whatever minutes of extra time it was or anything like that. And then where were we at? Probably just past the lights at Bloomfield Road when the third went in. And we weren't quite sure whether it was the third or the final whistle. And obviously, 30 seconds later when it pings through on your phone, it was the inevitable third goal. And I don't know how many people actually saw it live, but when I saw that back as well, that was just another disastrous, pathetic attempt at defending. And it's, all gone to shit, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It must be very difficult for the players as well, with the fans streaming out. And another thing that wasn't mentioned was, and this is where the toxicity becomes an issue, doesn't it? Because when Apter's withdrawn and CJ comes on, I've never, that I can recall, I think you'd have to go back to sort of the Worthington days or Henry days. I don't recall a manager's decision being booed like that. It was very vocal, and I think that was obviously when people were still in the ground as well, wasn't it? And I thought, God, that's not good. That's not good, because to be honest, it probably was the right decision as well. But I think it was a case of fans just wanting to show their disgruntlement with the way in which the team's currently being managed.
Yeah. And also, you knew it was going to be another like for like as well anyway. So,
well, it was a like for like, but I could actually see the logic of giving CJ 15, 20 minutes. I've always said that's probably where his strength lies, coming on when legs are tiring and having a run. But he didn't really, did he? He
could have just put Apter in a number 10, stuck CJ, or even put CJ on the left, leave Apter on, or put Apter in the middle.
Yeah.
He can't change the system. There's no chance of that because he can't change the system, can he? He can just change like for like. So, that'd be the sensible thing to do. But it's not going to happen. That
you've got to protect the 2-0, haven't you? You've got to protect the. It was 1-0.
Well, to be fair, and there's a couple of people saying the same in the chat. It was that the concerning bit. It was actually the right decision, but people are so disaffected with the way that team's been managed that they just wanted to vocalize it. I think. I think it was just a way. It was almost a release of of saying, we're going to let you know that we don't like the way you're managing the team. And I can't recall. Listen, it's probably happened, but I can't recall the last time that happened. And that will be worrying if from an owner's perspective and from the manager's perspective, that isn't good.
I actually stayed for the end. I would have gone, but my mate Ben, he always stays till the end, so I couldn't go. It's unfortunate. So it wasn't great, very depressing day, and I think, as you mentioned, Tim, even the people, in the patrons group, there are people in there that are glass half full people, and I think even they turned. Even my sister, she's always very upbeat about things, and even she'd had enough. So not good. So we've not done player ratings for a while. So let's just go around the room, quickly do it before we move on to Gate. We will be addressing it. Those are the FOT mob ratings, but let's give our own. Go around the room. Tim, you can start with Grimmy.
Didn't have a huge amount to do, did he? And he made that big mistake. I'm going 6.
Raggy, Jimmy Husband, in that fish out of water at times in that role. Not his fault, really.
Shame. Shame. But still got to do a professional job, and he'll always try his best, won't he? But didn't have a great game. Got found out like the system gets found out. So 5
Matt, Elkin Bagot, one bright star in a very gloomy sky.
Yeah, I thought he was literally head and shoulders the best player on the park, quite frankly, on Saturday, which I know wasn't difficult in the circumstances, but he was very assured on the ball and did what he needed to do defensively. Decent home debut, really. I can't give any more than a 7, though, given what's going on. In fact, that's probably generous.
Implement the fielding player rating system, then, Matt. Bump it up a bit.
No, I'll stick with lucky number 7.
Okay.
I'm being generous.
Tim, Matt Pennington.
Yeah, no, obviously he'd had a bit of a goal flurry midweek, hadn't he? But I think, as we spoke before, like Hubby, he gets caught out, and I think he was one of the ones responsible for that first goal, just standing too far off. It's got to be another 5. I think he's on par with Hubby, to be fair.
Should we do what Joe's just suggested here? Everyone 4, bag it a 6 and be done with it. We've started, so we'll finish.
Yeah.
Raggy, you've got Hayden Coulson, who got the star rating on FOTMob 7.7. At least he was trying.
It's frozen in time, I think.
Oh, okay, Matt.
Yeah, I'll take Coulson. I thought Coulson had a great first half. I think he's a 7.
He's back. Raggy, you back with us? He's moving. Okay, Matt, you take Sonny Carey. Again, another lost midfield player, I think.
Yeah, just another lost
system.
Just another lost soul on Bloomfield Road. So, yeah, I will go with others 4 for that one.
Tim, using the Atherton system. Is that the Duckworth rules? The Atherton rules. A 4 for Finnegan.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 5. I think he faded. He faded a bit, didn't he, as the game went on? I thought he did okay in the first half. 5.
Matt Evans. Had a shot, didn't he? Again.
Yeah. He's another one. He's going down the same path as Norburn, isn't it? We're ruining his career very quickly. Decent midfielder with a decent reputation, and it's just not working, is it, at the moment? So yeah, another 4.
Raggy just made it back in time for Rob Apter.
Yeah, I think they're trying to cut me off, aren't they? So they can't hear what I've got to say about these flags. Yeah.
Do you remember when Elon Musk and Trump got DDoS attacked when they had a big X Spaces plan to chat, and they got a distributed denial of service attack? I think that's happening. I think
this is
a certain chairman has summoned the Dark Army, and they're taking us out.
Some Far East hedge funds in here. Who was he on here? Raptor.
You're on the Raptor.
The Raptor. Well, not solely his fault, because he's out of position, I think, and this just doesn't help anything. But ineffective, like a lot of them were, for what they are. So just 5. Yeah, but he wasn't on goal though. Wasn't on target.
You've got to hit the target, Tim. Got to hit the target.
You certainly have. That's my brother's favourite saying.
Tim, Ash Fletcher should have had a pen. Should have been a red card. Could have changed the whole complexion of the game.
I thought he had a couple. They didn't come off, but he was trying to do a few things that I thought another day they'd come off, and that looked great. Like you say, he could have had a pen, but it was still. I can't go higher than 5. And that's not a good score, I hasten to add. It's, I think we can overreact with these things, but I think 5's about as good as it gets. I think I've been quite generous there.
Carl Joseph, Matt, I think a similar ballpark figure.
Yeah, I'll be consistent and go with 4 again. There's just nothing. Poor lad, I feel sorry for him. I really do. He's getting pelters left, right, and centre. His confidence must be absolutely through the floor. And I still maintain that when I saw him against Bolton away, I thought there was a player here.
Yeah, so do I. I actually like him as a player. But he just seems to drift through games, doesn't he, at the moment? And maybe because he's unhappy. Maybe it's because he's not enjoying his football, and you do need to enjoy it in order to perform at the optimum level, don't you? And at the moment, it's not happening for him, and it's not happening for anybody, is it?
No.
Let's have a quick look at the match stats here. Someone in the chat said we did have shots on target at Crawley, so maybe we've been blinded.
Well, I think when we hit the post, that's not a shot on target, so it depends whether you class that as a shot on target or not. I can sympathise with it being a shot on target, but technically it isn't.
So, gents, have a look at those match stats. What do you think?
Looks like we lost from here. Absolutely. Shots on target is just terrible, isn't it? Every game, 0 or 1, isn't it?
Shots on target,
24 foot
0.
by 8 foot, them goals.
Yeah.
Critchley won't be
happy. By 8 foot.
Critchley won't be happy because we didn't even win the possession stats.
No.
He'll have
2 games in a row now. We're averaging 45.5
on my Excel spreadsheet,
John.
What was that, Matt? Sorry.
We're averaging 44.5, I think it was, on my spreadsheet that I've started. Over the 2 games.
Expected possession made you need to write a little algorithm, get a new metric. That's depressing reading if you just look at it. 0 shots on target, 0 big chances, 0 big chances missed. XG, if that's your thing, 0.52, which is shit. No other word to describe it.
I'm not sure how Stockport can have 0 big chances though when they scored 3. How does that work?
And the at the post as well, didn't they? And the at the post.
Yeah, bizarre. Are we rating crit? Shows it a bit too predictable.
Yeah, 0.
Yeah, I'll give him as many as the shots on target as well.
Manager rating. I need to click a few buttons to get us back. Manager rating.
Or manager.
Head coach, actually, isn't it? Head coach rating. Tim.
3.
Matt.
That's generous.
Well, maybe. I'm the
half. I'll go 2 then.
And I've spelt manager wrong.
John
Banner writing 1+.
That's what we're referring to. I want 0 from me. Nil point.
0.
That's
in. Yeah.
No point. Can't get 3-0 at home. No shots on target. Same old crap. Worst team than we had last year. 0. And he's done well to get that.
Man of the match. Tim.
Callum Connolly.
Well, for me, it's got to be either Coulson or Baygot. I think they're the only 2 in the running for me. I'm going to go Baygot. I think. I thought for a home debut, I thought he did all right.
Matt, as a former defender in your heyday, your playing career, are you inclined to give it to your fellow central defender?
I will, and just to keep the millions who are obviously downloading this from Indonesia happy, I'll also go with Baygot.
Maggie.
None of them. You can't call a man of the match. There's no man of the match, is there? It's just that who's the less shit one? That's what you're asking.
The least worst.
Yeah.
Less shit of the match, then.
Less shit of the match.
Least shit of the match.
Is that what it is in the sponsors lounge after the game?
That's it.
Yeah.
I think they were all equally shit, so there you go. You can all have it.
Right, viewers, listeners, this is why you're all here. We've got over 230 in the live stream this evening. Good numbers. Flaggate. Who wants to start on this? What do we mean by Flaggate?
Well, it started off a few weeks ago, didn't it, when the flags were all taken down, and I think people were asking questions then, weren't they? And the club, I think it was through Steve Rowland, if I recall rightly, put out a message basically saying they've just been taken down to be clean and they'll be back up for the start of the season. So we think, all right, that's fair enough. I think I'd heard of rumours that some of them were a bit knackered and might be struggled to get back up. And I think there was talk of 5 of them, and so there was talk of maybe some of them needed to be replaced. I know there's a couple of people wanted to put new ones up.
Nick being one, Tim.
And then I think it became apparent. I think it was probably about Raggy might be able to correct me, about Thursday. I think 2 of the guys who'd taken the flags down and arranged for them all to be washed were basically, no doubt, saying, well, when they're going back up. And it obviously didn't happen. Raggy, you probably know more the specifics than me, don't you? I suspect.
Yeah. Well, pretty much that. So they're not going up. They're not going up just yet. We're looking at certain things to do with sponsorship around the ground. So it's like, well, hang on a minute. What do you mean certain things about sponsorship? We're not putting the flags back up. So I wasn't. That was going off on Thursday, Friday. I think a few people went to that. What was that event taking place on Friday at the club?
It was the South Stand unveiling, the one that Mick Page and John
So,
Crow had organised, wasn't it?
Big up Mick and John anyway for those.
Oh, fantastic!
It looks great, doesn't it? Yeah.
Of course, it was brilliant. So it was getting mentioned there then, obviously. So on Saturday though, because obviously we're not happy about this at all, and it shouldn't even be being talked about. So me and Grimmy and Dave went over to the club at about 1 o'clock on Saturday and spoke to Nick Horn, who's the club secretary, to ask him. Good bloke, Nick. And by the way, I'm not slagging anyone off in that football club at all here, but some things just need addressing because they're not right, and this is one of them. So he was doing his best to explain about just having a look for what they can best do with sponsorship round the ground. And I said, yeah, but just leave that wall alone. It's a massive ground. Sponsor whatever you want. You haven't got sponsorships on all the other walls. Why the North Stand? Just leave the flags alone. Some of them flags are up there for people that have passed away as well. And not just that, the flag's there. It's our area. It's the North Stand. It's the Blackpool fans' proud end of the ground now. Revered by a lot of fans across the bleeding country. Certainly our division. They've been one of the noisiest ends going. And that's a uniqueness. Those flags make it unique. So the fact that it's even been, I'm disappointed the fact that it's even been mentioned, because as I said to Nick, who's a Blackpool fan, there's no way I believe you've sat in a meeting and thought this is a good idea. So that's obviously coming from higher up, which will be Simon himself and Julian Winter, Swansea Julian. So whoever's come up with that idea, now is it a sponsor that's come to the club and said, I'd like that stand? Because if that's the case, well, big problem, because any normal Blackpool fan wouldn't go there and think, oh, I want that space. Let's pull them flags down, because they know the crap it's going to cause and the uproar is going to be from it. So I'm not having that. Or have they decided, oh, we'll offer that out there because it's the North Stand, completely misunderstanding the whole point of that stand and them flags and what they mean. But it just can't be allowed. It's nonsense. They can talk whatever money they talk about, whatever sponsorship. I've said this, and by the way, I've spoke to Simon Sadler myself, and he knows what I'm like, and I'll say it as it is. And I don't feel sorry for millionaires. So, people, if you want to put money into a football club, great. Everyone appreciates it. It's great. But for a few £1,000 more to want to put sponsorships up there and upset the whole fan base again, is just, it's atrocious, really. It's disgusting. And especially when you look around the rest of the ground and it's no advertisement anyway, put it up in the west, put it on top of the east, paint the pitch a different colour. I don't care. The ground's massive. Just leave that one wall alone. And it's not going away. And it's whoever wants to sponsor that ground's got to have a serious think about it. I don't know whether that particular company group would be reading Blackpool stuff. If they're not Blackpool fans. If they wanted it up there, they've got a problem, because that name is going to be it's not going to be sullied. That's a good word.
It'll be like the village all over again, won't it?
Yeah, it will. It will. And they've got a duty of care. They've got a duty of care to that company now to tell them as well. thanks for your money, but you're going to lose an absolute load of goodwill and reputation by going up there. And it's not good because you're getting to the point where it's almost like, well, you can come across as threats and things like that. It's not at all. It's just ridiculous to just leave that stand alone, leave that wall alone, put the flags back up, replace the ones that are brought, ask people if they want more up, stop it at a certain point. We understand about advertisement and things like that, but people say, "Oh, they've got to bring money in and all that." Yeah, but it's gonna take money away from the club. Just like we've got to raise money, we'll put the kids' tickets up and other prices up. But look how many was in the ground the other day. We've lost 1,500 people there somewhere, and everyone else who's not going to go now, and everyone else is going to stop going. And I'll tell you now that the Armfield Club had about 50 people in it when I got back, and I'd left it just after 1-0. They hadn't even been to the game. So they're going out for the day, though, still. Good people you'll know. A lot of our friends that just decided we're not going, not having it anymore. But who wants to get to that? Who wants to get to that situation? I mean, but the football starts it, the football's boring, and that's the main reason why people are saying, but all of these other things just add to it all. Why would you target tickets? Why would you target flags? Why would you give half the ground away to away fans? It's anti-Blackpool fan. It's not good. It's turning Blackpool fans to having a day. For what? For money that they're losing. It just makes no sense at all. So when people tell me, good businessmen, no, doesn't always equate to that because it's not going to stack up financially. And if Simon Sadler is trusting people like Swansea Julian to do that, and this is the product of it, get rid. If Simon Sadler's making all the decisions, well, we've got a bigger problem, haven't we, that needs addressing. But the product, as they wanted to call it, on the pitch is terrible. The product outside of the pitch is terrible. Everything coming out of the ground. I asked Nick Owen to have a look at the ground with me outside the other day as well, full of bird crap all the way around the ground. I said, this is like our church, this. Who's cleaning the ground? Even offered that we do it. I said, understand Blackpool fans will do these things for free. You know what I mean? They'll do it to help. I could arrange pressure wash because one of the things was about timescale of putting flags up. I said, it's all right. Me and Grimmy have got our iPath licenses. We'll pay for the cherry picker. We'll come and put them up on Monday morning. There you go. Timescale sorted.
Was that used?
Timescale sorted. Well, it was one of the reasons, one of the excuses. We run out a bit of time. Well, get rid of that because we'll come and put them up whenever you want. So that's no problem. But those flags have to go back up one way or the other. They've got to. It's not right. It's not fair. Out of all the flags that came down, 5 were irreparable that are being returned to the people whose flags they are. One of them was one of our flags that's already been remade and replaced. So it's not taking all the flags down. And a lot of them are in disrepair. That's 4 out of, I don't know how many flags are up there, but at least 50, I would say. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not right the way they've gone about it. You've got good people who've took them down. Blackpool fans. Don't think the football club have washed these flags, by the way. It's good Blackpool fans that have washed these flags. Gone out of the way to arrange things, and to be told at the last minute, when I've also been told that Link Signs knew about this a couple of weeks ago, by the way, that they weren't going back up. So it's been on the cards, been on the cards, been kept, and then tell the people who are doing it 2 days before the season. It's not good. It's not good relations at all. And I don't care what they think of that. It is what it is. Someone needs to sort the shit out of that football club and get these fans back. And if they've got any issues, just go back and have a look at the videos and the promotions they were using to sell season tickets 2 years ago at the start of the season, showing the North Stand rocking, showing the ground, using that ground as a selling point to players, fans, ticket sales. Now go and do it now. Go and take the video on Saturday and do it now. Soulless ground, no flags up, empty seats everywhere, very few kids. Total joke. Total joke. And we don't want this. We don't deserve, the fan base do not deserve it. We've had enough shit in the last few years that more than any other club don't deserve it. Don't want to go anywhere near them routes again. No one, not even a thing to be discussed, really. We're not going anywhere near that. But someone needs to sort something out. Why would you want to do it? I don't know why you won't want a happy ground. But something's going wrong. And that doesn't mean that people aren't trying, but they've got it drastically wrong. And there's a disconnection. And there's a disconnection since Brett Geraghty's been mentioned since he left the club, because you've left the Blackpool fan there that had some connection between the fans and the club and who actually cared. And But
it was
there's
his
other good
initiative,
Blackpool.
Raggy. It was his
Of course,
initiative.
yeah.
It
Of
was,
course,
and that was 3 years ago. And we've got a direct, we've got a director of the football club who really seemed to understand that this will be a good thing. And on a very superficial level, you could say they're just flags, but it's not about the flags, is it? It's about the DNA of what the North is, and
it's our home, and
that slightly Sam Powley element that goes on, and
it makes it unique, Tim, doesn't it? Makes the whole place unique.
That creates the atmosphere, and whoever thinks this is a good idea to try and brand the North, that it's the antithesis of what the North's all about. I remember it with Sam Powell. One of the reasons why, because I've been out there, and one of the reasons why they had the pirate thing that they had going, it was anti-advertisements and anti-sponsorship. It was like to say we don't want any of that. I'm not saying you don't have any of that, because of course we're in a League One situation where there's a deficit between income and expenditure, and we have to fill the gap. But Raggy said there's not one stand that's got any sponsorship of that type on it. We just allowed, rightly, I think, that signage that Mick Page and John Cross have sorted out to go on the south, which looks fantastic. Why the hell would you want to impact the what you've created in the North, what Brett Geraghty and what the Muckers and what everybody else who goes in there has created? Why would you want to mess with that? I just don't get it. It doesn't make any sense on any level, and it is going to piss people off, and it's going to destroy what that's all about. And the people, the decision makers here, whoever they are, need to have a massive rethink on this, and very, very quickly, because people aren't happy. And it's not just Raggy and the lads in the Armfield who aren't happy. I'm not happy. And every other person I speak to about the situation isn't happy. And if the club can't recognise that, then we have a big, big problem, because we're going away from what this is all about. We fought for our club 5 years ago, 10 years ago, for a very long time. 10 years we started all this nonsense with the previous owner, and we did, this, as Raggy said, there's so much goodwill. You can get things done for free. You don't need, why alienate people? You could get that ground wash. You could get, there's a lot of seats that were covered in bird shit on Saturday. I noticed people complaining about. It wasn't that 5 years ago. We were all out there washing them and making sure that the stadium, we could be proud of the stadium when everybody came back.
It's someone facilitating it within the club and pushing this thing. This is the problem. There's no one there. They have all these ideas and all these things that go, maybe we'll do that, but no one's doing it. I don't know if there's not enough staff in the stadium, not enough people in there. It seems like, to me, by the way, it doesn't seem like there's enough people at all to deal with everything. But even a point that Iggy made to me the other day, the Jimmy Armfield statue, they were said, we're going to get new paving and lights. Nothing's ever happened with it. And nothing will happen with it, will it? Unless us fans do it, which we will. We'll sort it out. But it should be facilitated by the club. Just because everyone wants it to be associated with the club. They want the club to have a good name and get all the plaudits for it. That's the bit I think they're missing. They don't understand it. Like, no one wants any credit for anything. They want the football club. All the stuff that's been said about how we get into schools and how we do this, needs to be under the Blackpool Football Club banner. We could set off doing it ourselves, but it wouldn't have any traction like it would with Blackpool Football Club's name behind it all. And I don't know who they're going to get to do that, or they're going to bring in, or how they're going to address it. If he wants to address it, I don't know. Again, the rumours are all out there. He's selling the club. He's doing this, and he can take a stance of going, well, I've already answered that several times before. I'm not selling, not looking to sell, or if somebody came along with a big offer. These things just need putting to bed and settling down. People are only asking the question or looking for these rumours because it's not right. And it's got to start with the football, hasn't it? It's got to start with the football team. But in the meantime, somebody just to do the right thing by the fans. That's all. Just do the right thing. And that flag bit to start with just needs to be. But, We don't want them looking at it like, oh, I'm not backing down now. We've made a decision. That's just crap. No one's interested. Just put the flags back up and don't even say another word. Just put them back up, and then it's gone. It's done.
It's a non-issue then, isn't it? The flags go back up.
It's not an issue. Don't even have to say anything, did he? You can just put them up and go, there you go. Next home game, they're all back up. Don't say another word, and then that'll be it. Be gone. Everyone knows they've listened. Gone. Thank you. Let's crack on.
100%.
Well,
okay, let's see what happens with that then. Watch this space, I guess. Right, just before we go, we've got Cambridge away coming up next Saturday. Mitch isn't on this evening, but he'd be loving this game because it's Lavery up front and his former lover, Silly Kai. Not a must-win game, but it's a game where we have to get something from, at least a point, a win to get the season back on track. But for me, a change of system and a change of approach would be enough, even if we lost.
Well, you might get a change of approach. You won't get a change of system, pretty much guarantee you that. I'm going as well. Down for the week. I'm down for the weekend. When the fixtures came out, I said to my wife, why wouldn't you like a nice little weekend away in Cambridge over the bank holiday?
It is nice, to be fair. Just
I was just about to say, it's a very you away game, this, isn't it?
Well, I can just see Tim on the river cam in his yellow chinos, punting away.
His wardrobe's ideally suited for this game. Ideally suited.
I might still go the way you're selling it to me.
Well, they've got the what is it? The Bridge of Sighs, haven't they? At Cambridge. It could be the Bridge of fucking big old size come 5 o'clock or whatever. But yeah, so I'm going down anyway on the Friday, and then there till Sunday. And obviously, 3 weeks ago, I was quite looking forward to it, but now it's just a weekend.
There's some great pubs actually in Cambridge. I went.
Well, that's it. I'm looking forward to it because I've never been to Cambridge. It's just one of those places I've never had the reason to sort of pass through. It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? Really, it's not on the route to anywhere particularly. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the weekend pans out. Football aside, I'm sure it'll be nice. But yeah, it feels like a 6-pointer already.
Yeah, it does. It does. It is.
Oh, dear.
6-pointer, 3 games into the season.
Yeah.
Is Simon texting you, Reggie?
No. Various others. It's Carl.
Wonder what he's up to these days, old Carl.
It's amazing how people who are such an important part of your life really weren't they for so long and just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah. No, good. I seen that is it Ed Jackson? His name popped up the other day. In a particular, eating in a particular cafe, knocking about. He was the watch seller, wasn't he? Was he the watchman?
Yeah, Muppet Watch.
Muppet Watch. Yeah, he was knocking about like a big goon. Yeah.
I wonder what old Lazarus is up to as well.
God knows. He had gone to America or something, hadn't he? I don't know what he was doing. But I did see him. Someone took a picture of him doing a car boot sale out the back of a van as well. God knows. Who cares?
Lazarus, the Dark Lord.
Sodom.
Harry Potter.
Yeah. That was good.
Them were the days, eh?
They were the days. We don't want anything like that again. I assure you. I won't have a marriage left.
You don't want any more Polish hitmen turning up your door, Maggie, do you?
No. I don't mind a bit of that. They can come to the Armfield this time, can't they? Get a different reception. Well, it'd be the same reception. There'd just be more.
Yeah. Right. I think we'll leave it there.
We're going to do predictions for the score.
Oh, yeah. Go on, then. Yeah.
Dare we?
2-0 Cambridge and Critchley out.
I would take 2-0 at Cambridge to get Critchley out.
Yeah, it's a funny thing.
It shouldn't be thinking
would you take the defeat to get Critchley out? It's yes from me.
Yes.
And scoreline.
Well, I think it's going to be another 2-0. Unfortunately.
Lavery both.
Yes, probably.
This is what you could have won. No, it's going to be Lavery and Kai, and they're going to set each other up. Sorry, Matt, to ruin your weekend.
Oh no, never let the football ruin a good weekend away, do you? But yeah, I don't know whether they're any much better than we are. Obviously, given the table, and they've lost to Crawley and Cambridge, Stockport as well, I think, haven't they? So this would be a real yardstick as to how poor we really are if they've done the same as us. So I'll go for 0-0 then.
That's how far we've fallen. Optimistically going for a 0-0 away at Cambridge.
In hope as well. In hope.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nobody predicting goals here for us, is there?
Club. Did you know that Blackpool have had a former Ballon d'Or winner and we've sunk this low? Did you know that the Blackpool have won
it's miraculous how we've managed to do it.
We haven't got a Ballon d'Or winner at the moment, let alone a Ballon d'Or winner.
In fact, I won't bet against every other club that's got a Ballon d'Or's never been out of the top division in their country. We've been up and down like bleeding yo-yo all over the show. I'll have to check that out. I bet they've not. I bet they've all been in the top flight in their country. Just us. But we won't want to be the same as them, will we? We want to be unique. That's the whole point of it all. Anyway, 1-0 win. 1-0 win, because we can only win 1-0, so 1-0 win.
Just before we go, Leanne's asking you to show us your phone, Tim. She wants your number, I think. So give us a bit of a tease. I know you've always been after him all these years, Leanne. Give you your number.
There you go.
There you go.
I'll have to send you a proper badge.
Right, gents, we'll leave it there. Thanks ever so much, everybody on the stream, for joining us. I've created a new little remix outro, so I'm just going to play that now. Where it's thanking all the patrons of the show, giving them credit for supporting us. If you do want to thank us for our work here and support the show, patreon.com/CSigners-pod. So we'll leave it there. Thanks everybody for your input this evening. It's a good laugh, cathartic again, as always.
It is.
And we'll speak to you all next week. So thanks for coming on, everybody. Speak to you next week. See you later.
Up the pool.
Up the pool.
Been involved in 2. Can he make 3? Not on this occasion. Well taken by Walsh. Davis is on the far side. Ainscough coming square. That's the ball. That's a good try.